Hey everybody, Josh Tobat, proud principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland ISD, Garland, USA, here on the flagship show of Unlock the Middle, 7 p.m. Eastern, ready for all of us to finish Fantastic 4 PD weekend with Shika, with Coach Hurd, with Principal Cafele. The fourth is tonight, and we have an awesome guest tonight, the boss. You know who the boss is? No, not New Jersey guy, not
I
born in
already
the
tried that.
boss. No New Englander, not that one. There are other bosses. We have, well, we'll get to her in a little bit, but it's about bringing something to the table, all of us. You know what? Here in Texas, a lot of us have a week off right now, and it's a great time to relax, rejuvenate, sharpen the saw, but also to ensure that we have sharpened our tools time. And these podcasts are that. They're free PD for all of us, so it doesn't matter where you're at. We want you. You. Hey, yeah, you there? You in Iowa? I need you. Hey, Dakota, I need you. Hey, Idaho, haven't seen you in a while. Need you. So if you're in Alaska, if you're in Hawaii, if you're in May, or you are in Florida, blessings to all of you in Florida or anywhere in the 48. We're Unlock the Middle, and we're here for you on our flagship show with a great guest, the boss. What do you think about that, Dean?
Well, I think one thing is certain. You've been practicing your introductions because you're pretty darn good, man. And every week you're getting a little more animated and you're really getting it rocking for us. So thank you very much, Principal Tovar. My name is Dean Packard, Principal of Charlton Middle School in Charlton, Massachusetts. And I'll tell you what, this Sunday night was all about finding greatness in the field of education from coast to coast, from California to Massachusetts to Florida to Texas. It doesn't matter where you're at. If you have something that's great, we want to talk to you and we want to actually share it out and really show the world and what you're all about, because you know what? We do get better together. I love that you said that, Josh. And Sunday nights have been all about that for over 200 episodes now. So we are cranking it out, and we want you to retweet this and share this out because we get a little bit better each and every day when we come together just like this. So, hey, Sunday night, great to see you, my friend. Hope things are well in Texas. I know they are up here in New England. Our Patriots won today, which is pretty good. I didn't expect them to do so, but I'll tell you what, it sets the tone for the week for a lot of people, for us. So how have you been, man? Everything good?
I'm doing great. We're just finished our first report card, having this week off, coming back strong for the second report card, 9 weeks.
First trimester is over for you guys. I said that back in the pregame. Right. I can't believe that. We're right smack dab in the middle. So we're a good 2 or 3 weeks behind you guys when it comes to that mapping of the school year. But so you have a week off.
So we have the week off. We went from full year round to back to traditional calendar. It's time to sharpen the saw right now. You know, all of us get our laying the foundation strong again, you know, after those years that we had with a disease. And now we're restructuring who we are as individuals, as educators, getting ready. And it could only happen with days like this.
You're absolutely right. So Dr. Nelson is in the house with us tonight. And I'll tell you, if you look at her background and her pedigree, she's going to bring some fire tonight for the conversation. Not only an author, but a keynote speaker, but also a leader in a school. You know, all these types of things come together, and it just makes you, we call them the ripple makers. So make those positive ripples every chance you can. And I think we're going to really enjoy the conversation that we have tonight. I'm going to bring her in, Josh. And I'll tell you what, why don't you start off and making that connection? Welcome, Dr. Nelson, to the show.
Great evening. I'm so excited. You guys are a ball of fun already. I've just been sitting back here laughing. But great evening. I'm so excited to be with you guys tonight.
That's great to have you on.
You brought one common individual brought us together. Well, two situations. Principal Cafele brought us together, but most importantly, the power and connection of social media. So this is a great way for all of us to grow stronger together. Because if you're not on social media, you still rent your movies at Blockbuster. You still buy your pants at Montgomery Ward. So put down your VHS tape or your beta and make sure that you're on Twitter. And this is how you make connections with an awesome leader like the boss. I love that whole moniker, and welcome to us, because this is how we get that connection going as an educational family. So, you know, let's get started. Let's talk about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, about your family growing up, about you in school. Talk to us.
Gotcha. So, you know, if you were to just look at me on a day-to-day basis, the way I walk and move through life, you know, we make assumptions, and 99.9999% of the times we're just off, right? So I'm one of those people that you might look at and assume a lot of things, but probably just wrong, right? So I'm the product of a single mother. Grew up in a very, very, very small town in Mississippi. Crystal Springs is home. Population of about 1,000, right? It feels like 1,000 people that are still there. So very small town, very much so low income, poverty, and I laugh all the time. I did not realize how poor I was till I became a freshman in college. That was when I realized, like, oh, wait a minute, we didn't have as much as I thought we did. But anyway, grew up just a single parent home. My mother did not graduate high school, even though to date she is one of the most intelligent people that I know. But so I'm the product of that. I happen to be one of those folks growing up that I always had an inkling for learning, and so because of that, I always had educators who were willing to say, "Wait a minute, come here. Let me share with you. Let me inspire you. Let me love on you. Let me demand of you." And so, although my mother did not have a formal education, she understood that her lack of that had put her in a position where she was having to live in the way that she was. So she was adamant that I was going to go to school, that I was going to do well in school, and that I would, take my education seriously. So the combination of having a mother who knew the importance of education from the extreme left end of the spectrum, and all of these amazing educators who just were determined that LaQuanta was going to be the best that she could be, yielded me to be in a position where I would just always strive to push myself academically and to encourage those around me in the process. And so here I am, some 20 plus years later, post high school, still doing the same thing, right? I still daily strive to learn something new because it's so interesting, right? So, you get to a place, you get your PhD, you get all these things, and you start thinking, I know something, right? I'm among the prestigious 1% here or 2% there. But the reality of the fact is, the more I learn, the more I realize I know nothing. Think about it. In the grand scheme of life and the universe, like, okay, if I start digging, let's say, for example, in education, I want to start digging into, backwards by design learning. Well, it's a whole world within the world of that, right? So that's pretty much the case in everything, which is why you have to be constantly learning. You have to constantly challenge yourself to be in the space with people who know more than you do. Right. I want to lean into those people because I think I'm pretty good at some things. But if I learn the whole of the universe of things that I don't know, I'm in a better position to make impact. And, that's where I am at this point in my life. Everybody has an end date, right? COVID shared some things and taught us some things and took us through some things that revealed what's most important in life, right? And it's our legacy. It's our love. It's our love that we have for the people that are around us, and it's our legacy. And so I don't know about you guys, but I had a lot of people that were here 2-3 years ago with me pre-COVID that are not here anymore. And so the more those things happen, the more you realize, like, my time is limited here. And so what will happen when I close my eyes? Will I have left people better than I found them? Right. And we're in a beautiful position in schools to, think about that. The average person does not have so much access to so many impressionable minds and years beyond years, right? I can impact generations to come one day at a time in a school setting. So what are we doing every day in our schools that we are truly making impact beyond just our now? We're making that legacy impact, and we're doing our dash work, right? So I just went around the world about who I am, but I'm just a little old country girl who loves to cook, who loves to eat, and who loves to love on people, right? And I do it through the lens of education.
Dr. Nelson, I'm going to spin it on you. Okay. All right. So I love that story. And you're coming from a family with a lot of love and a mom that's pushing you. And now let's talk a little bit about your educational journey from the start to the end, from who you were as a little girl to becoming Dr. Nelson. You just said, what, that just made me, gave me a title. It put me in a 1%er. But throughout that process, you learned how to learn. And let me know a little bit about how you navigated through all of your career, where you went, from high school on to what you decided to do for college, then right into the world of education and what that meant for you for titles that you may have had.
Gotcha. So, after I graduated high school, which is there in Crystal Springs, Mississippi, Crystal Springs High School Tigers, I graduated there, and I had the opportunity because, again, I was blessed to be academically, not athletically. I was in the band, right? I'm musically inclined. I still
Nothing
am,
wrong with the
right?
band.
Yes, but academically inclined, I had choices, right? I had choices for college. But I was a small town girl and I was kind of scared to go big city real fast. And so I did a tour of colleges and I ended up at Tougaloo College, which is a small HBCU in the state of Mississippi. And it was there that I learned that I was truly an eagle and I learned how to soar. We learned what it meant to make impact in our world and to do it in a particular way. So I'm forever indebted for my experience there at Tougaloo College. So I got my undergraduate degree. I initially started in math, right? I was a math major. And math is my love. I'm a math teacher every day of the week. But I decided, I was like, you know what? We were having to do a lot of work in math and I was doing public health. I was doing a whole bunch of things at one time. Was able to, through that, lean into public health, and I was able to even do some interns over the summer with Morehouse School of Medicine there. So that was, again, another experience for me that, again, taught me that at the end of the day, I wanted to be a teacher, right? So I did this zigzag around and still ended up being in math education. So when I graduated Tougaloo, I got my master's and my specialist from Mississippi College, which is also a smaller university in the state of Mississippi. By then, I was, teaching and learning. I was an assistant principal even by that time. And I have been blessed to be around other educators who believe in each other. So I had a principal at the time, David Campbell, who said, look, girl, you are amazing. I need you to go on and finish all of those degrees that you're working on, because by then, I was a mom, I was a wife, I was a whole bunch of things, right? But I wanted, that was a desire for me to have my PhD. He knew it and he supported it. So, I was able to continue on wearing all of those hats at the University of Southern Mississippi, which is one of the largest universities in the state of Mississippi. I finished up there with my PhD in educational leadership. And again, it just opened the door up for me to be able to support people at different levels. The knowledge that I gained there, the connections, that's what college is all about. It's about connections and content, right? But I was just able to make some connections and learn some things there that have just really empowered me to help others along the way, whether it was inside the classroom, outside the classroom, parents, because that's another area that a lot of times as educators, we don't always lean into. But growing up in a single parent home with a mother who did not graduate high school, when you're transparent with parents about that, it lets those walls down. Because again, I love makeup. I don't have it on today because I'm almost sunburned. We've been out swimming with dolphins today. But, I understand that how I show up in the world can be intimidating to parents, even though I'm a very happy-go-lucky, smiling all the time person. When you say Dr. Nelson and I walk in and she has on a suit and she has on her little cute makeup and her heels, people feel away, right? But when I say, listen, I understand the struggle. I am the product of the struggle. I grew up in poverty. I'm a single parent household. My mom didn't graduate. It's like, oh, well, look, this is what I got going on. Can you help me? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And so my whole life story, growing up the way I did and then having this formal education, you put those things together with the love for people. I'm just blessed to be able to reach people. What comes from the heart reaches the heart. That's so true. And so in education, I've been able to make impact just by showing up my authentic self. This little country girl from a country place who loves food, but loves education and loves to love on people. So
besides the food, besides loving on people, favorite job, AP or principal? Which one and why?
Ooh, listen, if I'm honest, I've spent more years as a principal, but AP, listen, that's where it's at. Being assistant principal is very much so underrated. And I don't care how much education you get. It's just like being a teacher, right? I can go through this formal process. There is nothing like day one being in the classroom and you look around and you're not like this supporting your supervisor teacher isn't there. Like, no, it's you, it's your world, right? And so transitioning from the teacher's position to the assistant principal is another one of those things. Like, you think you're ready, and then you get in that seat, and there's a whole learning curve that you have to jump through. Yeah. But I think because I have a level of students, right? They're in that AP spot. It was just a sweet middle, right? You were always connected with all of the babies, always connected with the parents, because it's me on the other end. Yes, they ran out of the classroom today. Or yes, they were the top performer on the state of state. You just all of those things that you had right there at your disposal. So you were just so very much so connected to the groundwork. Being a principal, you have to be even more intentional with that, right? You can get caught up in the politics of the position that it becomes this wide river in between the real work of the people and the teaching and the learning. And then, but again, it's just a wide space in between. So you have to be.
Here, the AP takes it. The AP was your favorite. Come
AP,
on,
hands down.
Hands down. Okay, fair enough. That was an off-the-cuff question, so unfair to you, but you handled it very well. Marketing relationships and creating relationships is where that all stands. So that's awesome. Thank you so much.
And kudos to all the APs. I don't think APs get enough credit and kudos and pats on the back. Listen, I could not do what I do and was doing as a principal without an amazing AP there. And so they're the unsung heroes, especially in middle schools.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed. Josh.
Very true. Shout out AP for 13 years here. So I understand that. Hey, welcome, Tim Cavey. Thank you for being here. And Principal Cafele, thank you for joining us tonight on the call. Appreciate you. So right now you mentioned a lot of beautiful things, LaQuanta, in regards to what you bring to the table, in regards to your upbringing, the love of your mom, you seeing her work, because that all creates an environment, a self-culture, a family culture. And my understanding is that what you bring to the table for different areas of your new stage in life is about culture. So Jimmy Casa states that what the pandemic did was that it unmasked what the true culture was of a campus. If it fell apart real quick and people were toxic to each other, it was just being held together barely. And Rona just ripped off that mask. So talk to us now that we've had this whole disease affect us in so many different ways. Talk to us about culture and being a specialist at it.
So, culture is that thing, it's just like the floor, or the seat, you go in church, you were in church earlier. You go in church and you just sit down. You don't think about it. You don't question it. You just sit down. Right. You don't think about it unless it's not there. Right. Unless you walk in and you try to sit down and you bust your butt. Right. That's culture. Right. We don't really always intentionally look for it. But you intentionally feel it if there are some issues there with the culture. And so I wholeheartedly agree with Jimmy. I think he is so amazing, right? There's somebody that I love to sit down and just listen to him talk. But, culture right now I'm in schools all over right now, and it's a beautiful thing. And I can tell you, schools are struggling right now. The pandemic shot some holes in our foot, some holes in the bottom of the ships. And so the holes are the culture and the social emotional learning piece, right? Trauma shows itself, manifests itself in many ways. And so trauma was compounded in students, in parents, in teachers, and leaders. And so you got all of this compounded trauma coming into buildings, right? And so for schools that were not intentional in making people feel a sense of belonging, right? And having an excellence about what we do every day. I don't care if it's picking up trash off the floor or the way that our lessons are structured to go in the most rigorous ways that they can. For schools that did not already have that. And even, can I be honest with you? Some of the best schools that I know in the state of Mississippi, even those that were doing exceptionally well with every data standpoint, right? From the academics to the behavior to everything in between. It's just been tough. Somebody said I'm always on social media, right? I love your rights. Twitter is the best. But a comment that was made from a principal yesterday, She said, I thought last year was supposed to be the toughest year. I thought that we were over this crap. People are struggling in schools right now. And it's again, it speaks back to the culture and social emotional learning. So it starts with us. You know, people always ask me if I had to say, where do you start with culture? It's an inside out job, right? I can't inspire people to be respectful if I am modeling disrespect, right? I can't inspire folks to walk the talk, if you will. I believe in that. That's one of my core values. My language and my words need to match and mirror what you actually see me living out in a school on a day-to-day basis. That's so very important. But all of those things, they start inside out, right? And right now, we all have to ask ourselves, like, why am I here? Why in 2022, you know, this is October already. Why am I in a school? What impact do I think that I can make? As my dear friend Kafele would say, is this school better because I'm in this position? You know, is this school better off because I am the leader, right? Is this school better off because I am the teacher, right? So just constantly being in a state of reflection and understanding that energy is contagious. And if I can't say anything else and nobody, energy is contagious. You know, if I'm walking in the building one day, and I use this example all the time because it continues to happen. I have a massive dog who was only supposed to get to be like 35, 40 pounds. Well, Jet is like almost 80 pounds. He's a golden doodle. He's massive, right? But when we first got Jet, my child, Tyler, was begging for a dog for years. I finally caved in, got Jet. When we first got Jet, you guys know a dog, a puppy is like another baby, right? So on any given moment, if I'm upset because I had to get up in the middle of the night with Jet and my own personal child, Tyler, is whining that morning, and let it be a morning that I didn't get gas the night before, right? So Jet just had me up all night. Tyler's fussing and whining. I'm gotta get gas, and it's cold. I don't like to be cold. My energy, if I don't check it before I walk in a building, is not something that's worth catching. All right. And if I'm the leader and I'm walking in that way, what can I expect of others throughout the day if I'm starting my day as the leader with a funky attitude? And funky sounds harsh, right? But that's what it is. It's not worth catching.
Yeah, you set the
So,
tone.
yeah. So just being constantly aware of how you step in a room. There's so much research out on the heart head energy connection. What you feel deeply within yourself right now, it has you like you're walking around with a force field all day. Research clearly shows you got a bubble. You remember the bubble boy?
Yeah, Seinfeld.
Yes, the bubble boy. Like you legit are walking around with that every day. But you know, on Seinfeld, when you hit the bubble, you bounce back. Energy is not that way. I'm just sucking you in. You coming right on in. And so just being intentional about how you walk in, first and foremost, is how we start to change culture. And one person isn't responsible for that. As a leader, listen, you got to be on your toes, tippy toes all day long with that. But at the same time, understanding that it's my job to create other leaders. I don't want a whole bunch of followers. Like I'm getting old. Time is flying by. I promise you, just yesterday, I felt like I was a senior in high school. And here I am, you know, and here I am.
Well, I'm going to take that for a second. I'm going to run with it. So first and foremost, I love that you said that you have to be that image walking into your building, because I'll tell you what, it also permeates out to your student support team, the people around you, your assistant principal, your adjustment counselors, everybody who has that stake. And not that teachers don't have a stake. They're teaching and they have a stake as well. But we call them the tone setters, the first impressionists. Those first impressionists have one shot. And again, we all in this business have one shot to make that first impression count. And there's no doubt about that. So going back to what you said about change in schools and organizations can't happen in silos. You can't be by yourself. Everybody's going to be part of that change. From your perspective and the learning that you've done and all the stuff that you have worked through, how do you see sharing in that change? And how do you make that sharing really important for everybody?
I think it starts with sitting down at the table. You know, we talk vision all the time, but we negate its true impact. Like, when is the last time you as a school or a system or an organization really sat around the table and said, where are we trying to go? Like, okay, where are we right now? and where are we trying to go? And so it's
Great question.
being very clear as a leader and bringing everyone to the table and having that inclusive opportunity for people to create this collective vision, right? Because if it's a part of me, then I want to go. I want to go and I want to go far, right? So, and then making sure the organization, you as a leader, and then the team has both a microscope and a telescope, right? So the telescope is big picture, far off. This is where we're trying to go, but every single day is a telescope. What are we doing every day to move the needle? But it's all about being just crystal clear about where are we going, right? I read an article not too long ago. It was talking about, what people prefer to be over communicated with or under communicated with, right? And the article clearly said, I would much rather know very explicitly 1,000 times where we're going, why we're going, versus me having to wonder, right? I'd rather be like, you know what, she told us that 1,000 times versus what did she say? So just keep it in mind. Yes. So just first and foremost, letting people know that they matter, that their expertise, their opinion is valued, and then sitting down to calibrate, like, where are we going, and understanding that we can't get there unless we do it together. So I think, just being very crystal clear on exactly where we're going. And a lot of times, even if we disagree on the how we're going to get there, if we're all clear on where we're going and why we're going, I'll go along with you.
I love that.
So along this path, we've got the boss. So the very first time I heard it, obviously I did that whole Massachusetts thing, New Jersey, the boss. But you know what? I know the boss stands for something else. It's about supporting others, empowering others. This is a time right now, Doc. Break it down for me. Break it down. Tell me what the boss is all about.
Who said that? James Brown? Did James Brown say break it down?
He did tonight. If he didn't.
Gotcha. So, boss educator, a lot of times when we hear boss, we think, oh, titles. But boss educator is not about that. It's about action. And it's about understanding that if we're going to make our greatest impact right now, especially now in education, we've got to do it together. And that means that everyone needs to show up as a boss, right? So the B stands for bold. Sometimes people think bold is loud. It's not. It's about being your most authentic self. When we shine, we give others the permission to shine as well. And so in schools, think about it. Middle school is a tough time. I was really weird in middle school. And if I'm honest, I love middle school now, even more so. And if I'm really super, super honest, people that love middle school, that do middle school, we're crazy. Just admit it with me, right? You gotta be
grow up.
A lot of crazy to love middle school. In middle schools, in all schools, it's so very important that we just show up our most authentic self. Kids, social media right now is just killing us, right? We got all of these pictures and these images of what we all think we're supposed to show up looking like, feeling like, acting like. Those, it's not real, right? So the more we show up authentically ourselves, unapologetically, imperfectly perfect version of ourselves, right? I tell kids all the time, in all of the universe, there's only one you. So why would you try to be somebody else? Like, how cool is that you are uniquely and divinely one of a kind, right? So the more we as educators show up our quirky, weird selves, we give our scholars the permission to do that as well, right? So that's the B, the bold, being your most, and also that also stands for being an advocate, right? Because as a leader and an educator, we see things that we know our students need. We know our community needs. How dare us see those things and not do everything in our power to advocate for our students to get exactly what they need? Because I'm always empowered and remembering there's a LaQuanta sitting in this school. There is a LaQuanta sitting in this school who will not become a Dr. Nelson unless a Mr. Jones or a Principal Tover or a dean gets that child what they need, right? So it's very important that we're always in that lens of searching for a need and finding ways to fill those needs. So that's the other big component about being bold. Optimistic. Lord have mercy. Do we need any more negative Nancy's in the world? No. All right. There again, research. Math is my love, and so I'm analytical and logical. So I love to read research, right? There's so much research behind this as well. So did you know that when we learn to be more positively focused, our brains more positively focused versus negatively focused, we can be up to 31% more productive and creative. 31%. I don't know about you, but I need my 31% every day. Look, I'm one of those nights where I didn't get as much sleep, and Tyler is cutting up, and I needed gas, and it was a wreck. No, I need that, right? So making sure that we learn how to be optimistic, and that doesn't mean people think no, you only see rainbows and unicorns. No, I recognize that there are some crazy things happening in the world, but at the same time, I understand that me being negative adds a weight and not a solution. So, being optimistic is always about being solution minded, right? How can I make impact? Yes, there's an issue, but even in the issues, there's always a silver lining. Always. I can learn something from every single person, every single day, every situation, right? So that's about, being optimistic. If we were talking business, in the business world, research has shown that people who are more optimistic, they get promotions faster. They make a lot more money, and the bottom line for those businesses, they're a lot higher than those businesses. Think Chick-fil-A, right? Customer service, right? Who doesn't want Chick-fil-A over Popeyes? Just saying. All right, and so then we have the other S, the first S. So bold, optimistic, spontaneous. When is the last time you guys did something fun that was out of the norm? Come on now, guys. Come on.
As long as we're working with kids, that's a requirement. You cannot be a stick in the mud. If you
I
are,
agree with that.
that's bad culture.
TikTok
Shame.
videos count? Yes.
Yes, they do, right? Tried a new dance lately. The brain responds to novelty, right? Brain-based research clearly tells us that our brains respond to novelty. Try something new, right? For those of us who I love a black suit. I love a navy suit. Every now and then I need to throw on a yellow one as I'm trying my new teaching strategy, right? In math class. I need to switch it up because the brain responds to that. And life is just better. Life is really short, y'all. I can't say that enough. Life is short. And on my last days, I don't want to be thinking, oh, I wish I would have tried that new lasagna menu. Right? Let me just try it. If it's nasty, I'll just put it down and try a new recipe next week. Hey, we always try new things. And then the last thing is about being substantial. It's your dash work, your legacy work, right? I want to be known for being a hope dealer, right? A purpose pusher, an impact chaser. I want to, at the end of the day, the accolades, they're beautiful to have, right, for your resume, to be able to say, you were the principal of the year, you were the district administrator, even to go to DC. Those things are beautiful. But, at the end of the day, when my life is gone, it boils right back down to, did I make this world a better place? It's not about titles. It's about people and giving people permission and empowering them to be their best self, right? So that's what the substantial is about being, that dash work, that legacy work. We all have it.
That leads right into my question. But before I do this, you talk about titles and accolades and all those type of things. You know what my greatest accolade is? When I see my teachers get recognition for doing a great job. When I see kids achieving goals that they never dreamed that they could achieve. Absolutely. It really, I always say this, the school's not about me, Principal Packard. It has nothing to do with me. My job is I sit at the wheel and I steer it. And then what I do is I let everybody come to the front and get the accolades that they deserve. Because if you do that, you just blossom. You blossom.
Absolutely.
And the longer you're in leadership, the more that becomes the prevalent thought process. Because, some people wear the chair as a title. If you wear the chair as a opportunity to be able to make others better, think about the impact that you're going to have. circling back to that hope chaser, that dream chaser, that impact maker, and your legacy, all the work you've done. If you could look back and say 10 years down the road from now, and you say to yourself, what is there any big ticket thing that you're going to be able to say that you're very proud of, and that you're really happy that you were part of creating something for somebody? That is that legacy. That's that dash.
Gotcha. Again, it boils back down to the day-to-day micro interactions that I have with people. When you help a student who absolutely has no self-esteem be able to look in the mirror and know that they are enough individually, then walk in a classroom and go from, being a student who is engaged in failing behaviors for years, and they all of a sudden are, your star student. Or to help a teacher who says, I've been doing this for 20 years. I don't think I could ever try anything new, right? And you finally get them to see, but Miss Smith, you can just try it. I'm right here. And they try it and they light up like, the 5-year-old on the first time that they seen a tree light up, right? So all of those things for me are the things that make my heart skip beats. And they're the things that make my heart smile. And the reason that I know that I'm being my most successful self. It's not about one thing. It's about all of these amazing human beings that I get to pour into every day, and I get the opportunity to help them see themselves the way that I do, and that's in the best version possible, right? So that for me, and I know that sounds really corny, but that's what it's about.
That's authentic and real.
Yeah, but that's what it's about for me. 10 years down the road, knowing that, like now, I got kids who are doctors and lawyers, and they call me, and they're like, "Who would have ever thought?" And I'm like, "Me, you don't remember me saying, yeah." And so, helping people to believe in themselves even before they can, that's what it's about.
Powerful, right there. Powerful.
And as you promote this in regards to culture change, supporting everybody being spontaneous, the BOSS acronym, so on and so forth, during all this time, people are kind of hesitant of trying new things because they tried a lot. And sometimes they feel they're chasing their tail. A little white dog that chases his tail. So how do you encourage it? What are your words out there to Josh, who just got hired as an assistant principal yesterday? Or Dean, who just got hired as a first-year principal in middle school with 900 kids. How do you support your team members as you're creating culture to try new things to help our kids fail forward?
So fail forward is the word. I have stickies everywhere. I'm one of those people, right? And the older I get, I'm just getting old and forgetting stuff. So I have reminders everywhere. But one of the things that I have, how did I fail? Did you fail forward today? Did you fail forward today? And it's this concept of taking intentional risks to get better. Nobody grows in the comfort zone. Being okay with, that just didn't go the way that I wanted it to go, right? But again, like I said earlier, being wise enough and reflective enough in practice. What did I do? What was the result? Did it go the way that I wanted? If it didn't, what did I learn from it, so that as I pick this task up again in 5 minutes or tomorrow or next week, what did I learn that can propel me forward, right? So the whole concept of it's okay. And we struggle with that. Most of us are perfectionists and we want to get it right all the time, every day. But again, are we leaning into our most effective and best version of ourselves if we're always playing it safe? So I would definitely say it's okay if you don't get it right. It's okay if you don't know everything. Again, I'm a long ways post PhD. And again, what did I say earlier? The more I learn, the more I realize, oh my goodness, I don't know anything. I gotta dig deeper. I gotta study harder. I gotta lean in more. So I would say to those people, be encouraged and know that you've got exactly what it takes right now to make impact and to be what your school needs at this point. It's all about being reflective in practice. Again, how did I fail forward? And making sure that every day, all day, I'm reflecting and asking myself some questions. How can I be more effective at what I'm doing? How can I make greater impact? How can I show love? That's one that we don't always say, but listen, 2022, people need love. People need love in schools. You know, we've heard it before. People that need love the most, showed in the most unloving ways. And COVID, again, trauma shows itself in interesting ways. And so just being intentional in loving people, and love is accountability. So sometimes we get that mixed up too, right? I'm coming from low income situation where people, don't have pity on people. No, you need to love them to their greatness. And a part of that is being holding them accountable for being their best selves.
I'll tell you this, that both Josh, Chris, myself, we've predicated a lot of what we've done on having people understand that relationships are the most important thing we do. We're in the people business, okay? We're not in the textbook business. We're in the learning business. There's no doubt about that. But you can't learn until people know that you care about them. And Josh always says that. Kids don't care how much you know until you show how much you care. And that's one of the biggest things that we all have to take away from being in public education today. And I'm going to go one step further to all you teachers listening out there. I'm a huge proponent of calculated risks in a classroom. Okay. You have to have a purpose to it. Don't sit in your comfort zone. LaQuanta, thank you for saying that, because you can't grow from there. Calculated risks are acceptable, and we want you to do that, because kids know right from the start, from your body language to your delivery, whether you care and love what you're doing and you care and love them. You got that one shot to make it happen, man. So good tonight. So great to hear everything that you have to say. Josh, why don't you just wrap it up and take us home, my friend?
I concur. Doc, this last Thursday we had a great show on supporting EL students in different parts of the country. And I agree with what you said 100%. I want us to give our kids that are learning English from different parts of the world the opportunity. But there's a term in Spanish, and it's a term of endearment, and it's called mijo, my son, my little son, right? But you see, that's also used as a crutch. I don't want mijito syndrome. I want you to push me. I want you to push those kids. Yes, we know they have obstacles. Yeah, and you know what? The teacher educated him. I know they have an obstacle also, because they're not fluid in that language. And I don't want them to be fluid. But you know what? It's about creating and bringing out the best version of themselves. 100 home run. When you said that, my heart pumped extra blood, because you know what? I don't want mijito. I don't want you to baby them, because you know what? Hey, educator, life is not babying any of us right now. Oh. And when these kids grow up, life is not going to baby them. Look at our inflation rate. Look at everything. Look at the gas prices. Hey, look at what happened to the people in Florida right now. I'm letting you know, life does not mijito us. So we got to make sure that we bring out the best version of them. And this is why we've had such a great job. We had an awesome opportunity learning from the boss today on the flagship show, 7 p.m. of Unlock the Middle. But we cannot forget that this Tuesday, you know what, Dean? You know what we have to do this Tuesday, Dean? We have office hours. Dean, at what time do you have office hours?
That's 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock Eastern, where it's a 20-minute show, where we have 3 administrators and we break down one problem from different points of view, from different parts of the country. How would you resolve it? So join us. Thank you for joining us tonight with the boss, but join us this Tuesday for office hours, 20 minutes tops. We need your experience. Come on over. Take it away, Dean.
Hey, where can we get the book? Can you do you have a copy of your book? Can you show it? I don't want to leave here. Do you have one with you? You're on vacation. You may not have carried one with you, correct?
That's correct.
That is correct. Pretty smart. I don't have a PhD, but 2 master's degrees. And I figured that one out. But where could you get your hands on a copy of your book?
It's not out yet. We're still in the
it's in the phase of that was a sneak preview then. Okay, good. Yes. When do you anticipate it'll be out?
Early 2023.
Okay. So you're in the process. And I'll tell you, anybody who has time to write a book, run a school, get out and do professional development, keynote speaking, and do all those other things, God bless you, because that's the meaning of insanity right there, because time management is the number one most important thing. Well, listen, on behalf of Dr. Nelson, Principal Tovar, and myself, what a great night, and thoroughly enjoyed you being with us tonight. And listen, for all you guys out there starting off your week, make sure that your week is a great week. Take care of those kids and do your very best. Authentic self wins. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.